every game of chess is a universe in itself, and you can spend hours just to analyze one single game, which is not what we're going to do today. So rest assured, guys, I'm not going to keep you longer than, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, more or less. Yeah, you can dismiss actually in a couple of minutes if you really want to be very brief and summary in your assessment, but I think I'm going to give it like a decent 15 minutes, more or less. We're looking at game number 10. Check the other games that I've done on my channel in between Robert James Fischer or Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky. The game they played during the World Chess Championship in 1972, Iceland, Reykjavik. And it's going to be a Ruy Lopez or Spanish opening. E4, E5. Now, the first couple of moves, we're going to skip the assessment, the evaluation here, because you guys probably are familiar, talking about those of you that already know what's going on. I'll just try to cover just a pinpoint, just some ideas. Of course, if the bishop would have stopped on c4, we would have had the Italian game or the Gioco Piano, but now we've got a Spanish opening. Normally, you want to get rid of this guy, so you may have a little bit of pressure on the e5 with your knight from f3. e6, that's a normal move that's normally being played here. Not a problem. You could take, you can run away on a4. Of course, you could have taken on c6, to which black can take either with d with b, and we're talking about some other variations. But bishop a4, knight to f6 now. Normal developing move, looks at the e4 pawn, which is being attacked. Now, you mustn't just get worried here, because you got a phenomenal normal move here. Phenomenal or normal? Well, I think they can go together. Castle short. You mustn't worry about a knight takes on e4, my friends, because there is rook fe1. And you're going to put pressure on the knight, and you're going to put pressure on this guy on e5. Even if knight plays on c5, threatening your bishop, you could just remove this guy. They're going to be taking back. I don't know what they're going to take with. And then you're going to take, and that's cool. You know, that's absolutely fine. You're doing absolutely great here, not a problem. So you mustn't worry. Actually, that's quite a strong idea for white. So I really doubt that black is going to take in the serious games. Anyway, bishop e7 being played by Boris Spassky here, and rook fe1. Always, always a good idea. Get your rooks on a semi-open. Well, it's not that much of a semi-open, but it will be a c3, d4. Therefore, the rook becomes very efficient as well. b5, attacking the bishop on a4, which now goes nicely on b3. I mean, where else can you move it? d6, d6 being played, developing move, and c3. Now, that's a multi-purpose idea in the Ruy Lopez. What does the c3 move mean for ourselves, guys? Well, a couple of things. So you can think about the d4, which you want to move anyway in this position with white, and you want to challenge the center. And c3 is the natural replacement for the d4 pawn if the black pawn takes back. In other order, if you've got any knight e5, you're nicely dropping bishop to c2. So that's absolutely great. And if d4 is being played, and if this guy's getting traded, and if you got a chance to pushing this pawn, you're going to have a beautiful, nice, efficient bishop along the c to h7. A lot of ifs, I know, but it's good to have as many ideas as possible available to yourselves. Castle short by Boris Spassky here. h3 prophylactically being played here by white. Normally, you will not allow any possible game to be played by either knight or bishop. So you're not going to get in a pin or anything. Of course, by black, it's worth mentioning that maybe you could think about knight to a5, bishop to c2, and then some c5 ideas. But nevertheless, castle is absolutely fine. h3 being played. Knight goes back on b8 now. Of course, black could have played here. My chess friends could have played just bishop e7. If you want to play it, just play it. Okay, it's not a problem. But Spassky goes with knight to b8. A little bit of reshuffling we're going to be discussing. d4, challenging the center, of course, and knight to d7. Now, just keeping an eye on this guy, because currently after d4, you can notice there is a double pressure on the e5. Therefore, knight b8 to d7 reinforces that pawn just in any case, okay? And you get your knight actually back in action. Knight from b1 to d2. In the future of the game, you may even contemplate knight f1, knight g3, knight f5. Just keep these ideas in mind. And bishop b7, of course, pressure on the e4 here, together with the knight. You do have double protection here, but probably if you do bishop c2, you're freeing up the knight because, as we just explained a few seconds ago, the knight may want to go f1 and g3. So just keep in mind all these good ideas, guys. Rook f to e8, of course. Important, getting your rooks from the f5. b4 being played here, not a problem. Of course, again, knight f1, knight g3, it's always that thing you could keep in mind playing here for white, but b4 is not a bad stuff. You're expanding on the queen side, bishop to f8, clearing the way for the rook if there's anything funny happening with those two pawns, d4 and e5. a4 played by Bobby here, challenging the black pawn. You mustn't necessarily take, you don't have to take that pawn, because if you take that pawn, actually, it's not great at all. Just look at the bishop here, look at the pin, and it's just not what you want to do. So when your opponent pushes a pawn, you just need to think, do I really have to take that pawn? And if it's to your advantage, take it. If it's tactical, strategically serves your purposes, take it. If not, as you can envision now, if they were to take and you take back, I'm not quite sure you want to get yourself to this kind of pin. It's just really, really not pleasant. Therefore, knight to b6 being played here, and a5 further on attacking the black knight. Black knight goes back on d7. It's not very favorable to go on c4 because after the trade and things, this guy might be potentially hanging in the future. It could be attackable. So knight went back on d7 and bishop to b2. Very positional, this game that they played. Very, very positional. As you could see now, we haven't got any trade. This is move number 16, ladies and gents. No trade taking place. Queen to b8. A little bit cramped here. Pieces are still adjusting themselves on the better squares. Everyone tries to improve things here, putting the pieces where they might be in the future, attacking better. c5 played by Spassky. Now that's a good stuff. Just goes for the center now. Pawns are going to get traded. No if, no but. Takes b, takes c5. You can't take with the knight, you take with a pawn, but also the e5 is attackable, which Bobby takes it straight away. And not just he takes it, he now saw that after a couple of trades, a queen would be attacked with tempo by the bishop on b2. Knight takes, knight takes. Now you take with either queen or rook, mind you, guys. And now, very nice, very superb, sweet, c4, simple yet efficient. Bang. c4 reveals the bishop diagonal. So queen is being hit, queen must move, and also queen must keep an eye on the f6 knight, because if just saying, okay, I'm going to give you a bad move, don't get me wrong. If, say, you go with the queen, I don't know, just you go with the queen c7, which is horrible, then the bishop's going to take on f6, and you're going to have an awful position, a pawn structure in front of your black king. So always keep in mind this kind of idea is important. So queen to f4, important. And also, yeah, okay, the triple attack on the e4, which is currently triple defended. That's not to say that it's not. Bishop takes on f6 now, watering down the pressure on the e4. Queen takes down. And now taking on b5. Rook goes and tries to pin the knight on d2. You guys notice the knight can't move because the queen is gonna. So Bobby moves the queen away from the d file. Queen, persistent, queen c3. They just simply want to take a piece. Now knight to f3. Just wanted to put your focus, guys, on the fact that the bishop on f8 here, they really do need a little bit of engineering, because this bishop here, apart from the fact that it hits its own pawn, would be so happy if they manage at some point to getting a little bit more active. And yeah, just wanted to show you what a bishop looks like, which is not incredibly optimistic. The guy on b7 is super happy. The bishop on f8, not that happy as of now. Okay, so from this point of view, black will have to investigate what to do with that bishop. Queen takes on a5, grabs a pawn in the process. Bishop to b3, already exercising pressure on the f7 pawn, which is currently defended by the king. But probably you guys can notice there is a knight that also can add himself as further attack on the f7. Queen goes first, though, also connecting the two rooks. Queen to f4, pressurizing the f7, as we just said. Rook to d7, keeping an eye on the f7 now. Rook d7, protecting f7, and knight e5, as we had announced previously. Knight bishop, and queen. Triple attack on f7. Always counting attackers and defenders. That's the strongest maths. You always need to make it a habit. Very important to being accurate. Let me have another quick coffee. I'm drinking a lot. Coffee, that is. So triple attack there and queen to c7, triple defense as well. But there is a nice, sweet tactic here. Very important. You could pause it, guys, and ask yourselves, what would Bobby Fischer play here with white? Also, you can't delay it. Just be careful with the extra preparation, because there is a, a threatening phalanx of black pawns on b and c5, and these guys are very dangerous. Like, if you just consider pushing down the board, just the c pawn, and I'm not convinced that you're going to be very happy after that move. So you need to act now. And there is a nice idea here. First, you're going to play rook b to d, challenging the defender of the f7 and trying to, claim the d file. You attack the rook, by the way. he didn't take it with the knight, because, sorry, he didn't take the rook with the white knight. Okay, I hope that's obvious. I didn't want to comment on this because queen is actually hanging here, so you're gonna just simply drop the queen. So rook d now challenges the black rook. Rook goes away. They gave up on the d file. Currently, the knight is still pinned, but now there is a sweet tactic, very nice tactic. You're gonna get your stuff back with bonus positionally attacking. Bishop takes f7. And now you might be saying, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense, right? I mean, I've got like 3 defenders here. Yeah, you do have 3 defenders, but after rook would take, queen would take, queen takes, and knight takes, and king takes, you always have the rook d7, forking the king, and the bishop on b7. So your stuff gets taken back, not a problem. And now if you say, well, can I just go on h8? You kind of not going to like it very much here, because we're going to have the knight to g6. And that's a problem. So let me just put it in this fashion here. So knight takes... No, actually, this is what happens. Sorry, guys. Let me just go back. I don't want to... So after the check here, if king goes on to h8, you do have then this here happening. And if they capture, you have the queen to h4, and that's just simply the end of it. So that's the combination I was talking about. So king, we've established can't move on h8, but rook has to take. Now you are not going to take back with the knight because the queen is hanging. You're going to take back with the queen. Queen takes, knight takes. And as we had explained, if king takes, sorry guys, rook plays on the 7th rank, and you're going to get your stuff back. So for this reason, Spassky tried to snatch quickly another pawn in the process. Now you removed the bishop. Notice another important, I think, idea for all of our friends to understand it. The bishop pair is just simply devastating. You can't allow your opponent to enjoy the bishop pair. Not in this moment, not with this pawn islands coming down to promoting. So you better remove the incredibly dangerous light square black bishop there, rather than thinking about, oh, can I just save the knight? No. You're getting in deep trouble. They're gonna be playing some bishop d3. Sorry, they're gonna be moving the bishop to safety, I wanted to say, and those guys will be coming down. It's incredibly dangerous. So don't think about saving your knight. Think about just taking this guy off the board right now. And it did happen indeed. Check now. White enjoys 2 rooks versus rook and bishop. And as a small compensation, they do have these guys, but they will be under heavy attack from the white rooks. Now, as you can see, rook already starts to attack the pawns. Rook to a1, check the king, move. King has to play g3, blocking the check from the bishop, and he rolls down the pawns. But they could very well be stopped. King goes away from the diagonal, therefore you might be able to push a g4 at some point. h5, rook pins the bishop to the king. Rook defends, rook a to d to defending the bishop here. King goes himself and centralizes, getting closer to action. Perhaps you may just very well want to attack the rook itself. Why not? So black king goes away from the pin. King attacks the rook. Rook goes to the 5th rank, keeping an eye on this guy, keeping an eye on this guy, maybe supporting some pawn. You never know. F4 being played here. Oh, I want to go back just a little bit if I forgot to mention. So here, guys, we got an interesting idea that you may want to think about, and that is just playing G4 straight away, which has been recommended by various commentators and engines. Just check it yourselves. You don't need to believe anything that's being said. So G4 would be the idea that if black takes and you would take back, you might be able to go with the F pawn as well. Therefore, the danger is real. Okay? And this kind of checking is not gonna work out because you're gonna escape with the king very nicely. So G4 had been recommended at the highest level here. Anyway, Bobby didn't play it, and neither now. So G4 is still playable. He didn't play it. He played the king to F3 and F4. G4 being played now, but like 3 moves ago, was absolutely phenomenally positive for white. Anyway, make no mistake, white is doing better than black here. Seriously better. And if you wonder what's with the rook b5, it simply does not allow black to push c5 to c4 because you take the rook. And there is another thing. Not just doesn't allow the pawn to moving there. You probably notice because there is a pin, this guy is hanging. All right, so this guy is hanging, which, by the way, can't be pushed because I'm simply going to take it with the rook. And there is also this idea. So there is a lot of power for white here. So at this stage now, after rook captures on b4, really, it's incredibly problematic. The bishop tries to reinforce the c5, but there is another check coming. King tries to come closer, moving out of check anyway. If you go on the 7th rank, you're probably going to run into this kind of things. So, you know, you're going to get sort of checkmated, or you're going to be trading more pieces here. So Bobby wants to simplify. He's got 2 rooks. Why not just trade off one of the 2 powerful rooks? Sooner or later, things are going to be very optimistic for white, even more. So now rook targets the g5 pawn, and that guy is going to fall. And now Bobby had created 2 passes on the G and F file. Those guys are going to be moving up and queening themselves. And if it's too painful to play, just probably you've got the chance to simply resign. King moves on d4, which is going to happen very soon. Now, rook to b1, you probably wonder, but probably it's not a big mystery. If you're looking at this, you'll notice a skewer that will be in place here, and that really is the end of. Because now Boris Spassky just said, look, I just had enough of this nonsense. I don't want to play anymore. Bishop takes f6 if you're thinking it just doesn't work, fellas. Of course, there is also the skewer, but there is a rook to f5 attacking the bishop anyway. And I really don't know where you're going, what you're doing, because rook d1 can't be stopped unless you want me to take your bishop. So from this point of view, I think Boris Spassky said, look, I just had enough, pal. Let's just play another day. And he resigned at this stage. Game number 10, there was a Ruy Lopez, guys. Of course, there is many things we could go back in the game and pinpoint very many other ideas and go into depth, but then again, it'll take way more beyond 15 minutes. We're going to get into a full lecture here, which might happen at some point with guys. We could try this one. Anyway, join my live streams and we could be discussing maybe some more stuff that you've noticed and you want to raise up the points and something. Absolutely, totally doable. So subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching the video, guys, if you make it to this point, if you made it. And I'll see you guys with more and more and more chess videos. People, drop me some of the comments in relation to what you would like to be seeing analyzed. And hey, if you want to analyze your own games, just join my live stream. Again, I'm more than happy to analyze some of my dear viewers' games, chess games. Thanks again, guys, and see you soon.